5 simple steps to see if you're able to retire. This is Jeff at Below Average. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Okay, the first one, pretty simple. You must, well before you ever retire or even think about it, you must have a handwritten budget or put it on a spreadsheet on your computer. You don't have to go to any fancy site or pay for anything to be done to have it look nice. You just need to start one, and you need to end up keeping this. You need to keep this for anywhere from 6 to 12 months, preferably 12 months, so you can actually see all the fluctuations and where your money is going. Now, I would suggest that for the first 30 or 60 days, you go about how you always do your spending. Have everything down, write it down, or I use just a small spreadsheet on my computer. You can keep track of it, and then after the 30 or 60 days, once you start seeing a pattern, or if you're surprised on anything, and the big one could be food. Food is crazy. Food is outrageously expensive. Then you need to end up, then you can end up seeing maybe where you could end up, working your budget. But it will take you quite a few months to find all the little things that come on up. Holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, vehicles breaking down, any random bill that might come up every year, or if that's how you pay certain bills by the year, or 3 months or 6 months. And so you really need to capture all this. And by you physically seeing it on paper or on your computer, it will really sink in on the kind of money you actually spend. And so it's the only way. I hated doing a budget. I've been doing it for like 4 or 5 months for the first time ever in my life, and I'm really realizing how costly certain things are, and what we need to do to try to make adjustments. But first and foremost, start a budget. I would say go up to 12 months so you can capture every dollar you spend, and you can see where it's at. And just so you got a clear picture, so there's no hiccups, nothing's jumping out in front of you. You'll be ready to go. That's the first thing. And as much of it is a pain, it is easy to do. So do it. Okay, number 2. After you have gone through this, and I'm suggesting the 12 months, you need to analyze your budget. You need to analyze, probably the big one is going to be food. You're going to be able to keep track of, when you keep track on your budget, like if you're going out to eat or you're buying groceries, you need to work on looking at cutting some of this down, because if you do decide to retire, you could be a little bit of a money strain. So you need to end up working on that now. If you're going out once a week, maybe you need to go out once a month. Buying groceries at the store, just don't buy just whatever you feel like it. I got tons of videos, or I got a few videos, and there's a lot out there on maybe being a little bit more precise when you go into the grocery store, what to purchase. Look for things on sale, buy one, get one. If it's really cheap, you end up buying enough of it and maybe drag everything on out. Like turkey is coming up for Thanksgiving. You can buy a turkey for like 10 times less than the original cost. So buy them up, use them for later. But analyzing that budget is very big. That's number 2. Prioritize. You'll be able to see what's on there. You'll see all your costs, prescription, everything. And that's what you need to do. So you start the budget so you can see where things are at. Then you analyze the budget. That's number 2. And you start working on making changes as you go through this. So you might even only get 30 days in, and you start thinking, I got to end up shaving some of what I spend on groceries. Or you'll start seeing how much gas you put in your vehicle, and all the other bills. Maybe you start shopping around for different insurances to try to save money, because you'll start seeing how much things are really costing, and see if you can lower everything. It's just to make sure that you are overly confident in the amount of money you're spending per month and where it's going. So number 3, the one thing that I'm big on is that before you even retire, you need to have your house paid off, and definitely, I think, credit cards and no car payment. This will drastically change your budget. If you have all three of these on your budget now, it becomes quite costly. If just everybody's house payments can be different, but you know, if you have a newer car, you might be spending 3, 4, 500 a month on it. Crazy, you might have $100 or something on a credit card, and who knows what you're paying on your home. But these are things that you need to have paid off before, or you should have paid off before you retire. So like I said, so if you're thinking, oh, I want to retire in 6 months, and you got all these crazy payments, unless you're extremely rich. But remember, this is the channel of below average. So if you're on the lower end of everything and you have all that stuff, I'm sorry, you won't be able to. You shouldn't retire. You should just keep working until you get the house paid off, get the credit cards gone, and have no car payment. Because remember, once you retire, you should be driving for the most part less. So none of those three, which is still part of your budget, is what you will analyze. All those will work together as you move through your budget. Next, if you decide to retire before the age of 65, you need to have figured out what you're going to do for health care if you're going to have it, or if you're going to roll the dice. Hopefully nothing happens. That's one way. But if you're going to have health care, and more than likely you will probably go on Obamacare or Affordable Care Act, you need to end up knowing this well ahead of time, how to plan for this. Because if you retire partially through a year, they will count your income that you've already made at your job, even though you had insurance then. So you must have a plan well in advance before you end up getting into this. Don't wait till the last second to make a call to somebody. And I suggest, I've already had a video, because my wife and I have had Obamacare for quite a few years now, or the Affordable Care Act. You need to end up finding some insurance company locally. Don't Google this, and don't, oh my gosh, you're going to get 10,000 emails if you try to hit up some company on what it's going to cost. Find your state's insurance, whoever it is, like here in Michigan, Blue Cross Blue Shield, you got Priority Health. Those are huge ones. Those would be easy to call, and so you can physically talk to somebody that's locally and ask the questions that you need to. Like I said, I have a video on this because I utilize this, so I'll give you some ins and outs on how it's structured. It's different. Slightly different by the states. It's definitely different by your zip code, and obviously your income is huge. So there's ways around to be able to possibly get the Affordable Care stuff, or the Obamacare, for free, or very little out-of-pocket money. But you must be aware of how you go about your retirement and where you're pulling your money from at the time when you need it, because it could get to the point that it'll cost you so much money that you will wish you didn't retire, or you'll go back to work. So you want that settled ahead of time. Very simple to do. There are slight changes every year. So whenever you call, don't assume that's what it's going to be 6 months or a year after that. But you'll be very close. You'll be in the ballpark. You'll have an understanding of what's happening. And you can ask these people, if you're on specific medication and you're nervous about that, you can ask them specifically, and they'll be able to tell you over the phone what that cost will approximately be. Be surprised. My regular health care that I had at my past employer, which was Awesome Healthcare, that under the Affordable Care Act, that the medications that my wife and I get, actually most of them are actually cheaper than what it was with my great healthcare plan that I had at my last job. So like I said, don't be scared about it. Just make the calls ahead of time. Just plan. That's why you do the budget for 6 to 12 months, preferably 12, so you get the idea of where your money's going, and you start analyzing it, and you make your adjustments, and then you make sure you try not to have the house payment, the credit cards, and the car, and then you have the ability to look at your health care and for how long you'll need it, and for, if it's going to be Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, which is more than likely what you'll be receiving. Next, the fifth one, very simple to do. If you haven't done it already, this is a must. You must go on the Social Security website, sss.gov. If you have never signed up, you must sign up. Go through the process. It's very little to do. You need to get into the Social Security Administration so you can see what your future earnings are going to be for Social Security at all the different ages. And then obviously while you're there, you'll be able to slightly double check to see, does it look like your employer? You'll be able to see year by year. You can see if your employer's been sending in the payments. Does it look right, feel right to you? In most cases, I'm sure it is. The big thing is you can see at the age of 62 what projected amount you will have. And you can check every year all the way to age 70. And this is where it gets very crucial. This is the last key point into the simple 5 steps to see if you are ready or if you can retire. Is what you need to do now is you take your budget that you worked on for 12 months and you look at the bottom number for every month, average it on out, see what it comes out to be. Let's just use for an example, it comes out to be $2,000. You're paying all your bills on $2,000 a month. Then is what you do while you're on the Social Security website. You can look at the age of 62, and let's say at 62, you're only going to get $1,500 a month. And let's say you look at 65, and maybe that's $1,800 a month. And then you look at 67, which like my age bracket is to get the the full amount. Let's say that one is $2,000. Boom. Here's your first idea if you're ready to retire, and this makes it simple. As you look at the amount of Social Security you're approximately going to get per month, and wait till that equals the amount of what you're paying on your bills. And then after that, let's just say it is 67. You can see it at 68, 69, and age 70 if you end up wanting or need to wait that long. You will see that where that number comes out to be. It could be as high as 25, 26, 27. Who knows what it is a month, but that's going to be the ballpark maybe. And you match that up with your budget number. This is the simplest way, as once those numbers minimal equal, you hopefully are on the plus side of more Social Security coming in for those bills. Then at least you're on track or you feel more comfortable about retirement. Now, hopefully during your work life, you were able to stick some money away in a 401k, or maybe you got a job that has a pension yet. If you do, this is when you really can feel like this could be so easy compared to what you hear out there. All the doom and gloom, no one can retire, you better have $1 million stuck with all this kind of horse crap. You don't need all that. But first, the easiest way to make yourself feel comfortable is seeing that number on the Social Security website and having that at least match up to what your bills are per month. Like I said, after you've gone through them, I think for 12 months, then you can really see what that is. And then, like I said, analyze it, and this is where you can reduce. If you haven't been able to think you could reduce anything, and you think, well, I don't want to wait till age 70 because that's where that break-even point. Let's say it's if you could shave off $300-400 at 65, and you start looking on that budget. Well, if I can shave a little food, maybe I can shave some of this on the insurance. Maybe I don't need 3 vehicles, or maybe I just need 2. Maybe I only need 1. All these things to make sure that you that those numbers can line up. Same thing with the house. Oh, this is where it'll show you like the reason why you need to have your house paid off, the reason why you don't need credit card debt, the reason why you have to have no car payment. And you can see where these numbers line up. This is by far the most comfortable and easy and simple method to look at to see where you are at. This is easy. And then, like I said, all the 401k money, and if you have a pension, is gravy. And or if you're thinking that I might just, when I retire, I still might work a small part-time job just because you want to get on out. You'll see where that could be play money, or you might need to close the gap on the number you need if you can't shave off anything off your bills. But by doing these 5 simple steps first, you will see where that number break even. Now the numbers on the Social Security site are, estimates. So, but it'll be the easiest way to get an idea. Very simple. And then another thing you can do while you're on there, if you really want to, and you start thinking, boy, oh boy, oh boy, I'm going to have to work a lot. I might have to work a lot longer than I think. There's a spot on there where you can type in your future earnings of, say, if you want to say I'm retiring right now and I'm not drawing Social Security and I want to retire, and you put $0 in there, and you can see what it does to when you can draw it at 62 to 70. For me, just to give you an idea, if I had no money going in, or I'm sorry, if I had up to $40,000 more a year, I went back to a regular job making 40 grand more a year, and I worked another 14 years. I could see on that site, by adding the 40,000 a year in, that by the age of 70, all it would give me was another $100 a month. So for the next 14 years, if I had a regular job and I was still working, because then I'm thinking I got to keep working, because I got to keep putting money in Social Security so I can put more on out. It just shows you at that point, once you have a huge base, 30, 35 years of work, all those extra years that you'll work towards the end of your life does not add much to your Social Security at all. But so it'll give you an idea, kind of wake you up a little bit, and you start thinking, well, that's interesting. And another thing to think about, most people don't, is when you start drawing Social Security, you decide to go back to work, you're still going to be paying for Social Security. Your employer is, and you'll never get one penny out of any of that. So hopefully that'll give you a little bit of an idea when you do go back. So I hope these are some pretty simple scenarios on how to look at that, so you can maybe ease that ease that nervousness and make you more comfortable about retirement, and it might wake you up a little bit. You might be thinking, boy, I'm not gonna be able to end up doing this. I need to end up looking and cutting enough stuff back, and this will put you on a nice money saving or frugal the rest of your life until you retire. It's just to keep you, instead of hitting you right in the face, it's something you can see. Keep track. Remember the 5 things. First, budget for a year. 2, analyze your budget as you goes. Look for the cuts. 3, make sure when you do retire that you see on your budget you have no house payment, no car payment, and no credit card payment. 4, if you do retire before 65, you must talk to somebody well ahead of time. And I'm talking months, 6 months, a year, just so you're comfortable with the Obamacare or Affordable Care Act. And then lastly, go on the Social Security website. You can go on there and create your account. Very simple to do. Look at those numbers from 62 to 70, and that's where you'll see when that number can match up to what you're spending now, that you can end up seeing that your Social Security will cover your bills. And then hopefully, like I said, you stuck some money away in a 401 or a pension, and you'll be able to look at that and say, that's the extra money. I can retire at this age if I want to. I can end up doing this. And this is really, to me, more designed for somebody who's on the lower income scale, because everybody at that point, they're thinking, I might have, going to have to work a long time in retirement to match that. And maybe it's not. Maybe you don't have to. But you don't know until you go through the 5 steps. So please, like, subscribe, comment down below. I haven't done much of any of this stuff on retirement, but been thinking about it forever. I know a ton of people a lot older than me that's went through early retirement, back to work full time, retired again, went back to work again. I know people who've worked all the way into their 80s because they love to work, but they also needed some money. And I know people who retired young, or before 60, or in their early 60s. So I'd like to hear your comments down below so other people can end up seeing, and I can gain some insight on this too, as I go through the process of looking at way into the future yet for me about what retirement will look like, or what it can be, versus what life is right now. Your daily life, you'll be able to end up plugging those numbers in and having a simple correlation between Social Security and your bills. So thank you. Appreciate it. Like I said, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Have a great night.